Alright, Punch Fiction here, with Inoue set to fight David Picasso on December 27th. I've been thinking about something that sounds almost blasphemous. Is Naoya Inoue starting to decline?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Not a falling off the cliff decline, just not quite the same monster we're used to seeing. And before anyone freaks out or calls me a casual, I don't know what's worse. I'm not saying Inoue isn't still elite, or I'm not saying he's suddenly average. Because even right now, Inoue is still one of the greatest fighters of this era and a future Hall of Famer. And in my opinion, still the best super bantamweight on the planet and of all time. But when you watch his last few fights, there's something just a little different. A small shift from spectacular to simply great. Take his last performance against Akhmadaliev. It was a good win. He was controlled, patient and smart and shut down his biggest threat. Inoue was the better fighter from start to finish, winning a wide decision. But compare this to previous performances, I felt something was lacking. The same thing with Ramon Cardenas. Another good performance but not spectacular. Inoue looked sharp, was dropped, regained composure, showed his levels and got the knockout. But compare those performances to previous performances such as Naoya Inoue 1, Naoya Inoue 2, Luis Nery and Stephen Fulton. Those fights had moments that didn't just show greatness, they showed dominance. It was Inoue doing Inoue things. Those recent fights were good, clean and professional, but not special, not terrifying. And that's where the conversation starts. Before we jump to conclusions, let's be fair. Sometimes a fighter looks slightly less spectacular because of the level of his opposition. Akhmadaliev is a legitimately world level fighter, a tricky southpaw, good footwork and a good chin. Cardenas is tough and awkward. And Inoue is smart enough to fight only as hard as he needs to win. He's not fighting like the kid trying to make a name anymore. He's fighting like a champion who understands the risk. And people forget this. Stephen Fulton looked confident and unbeatable at 122 pounds. And Inoue destroyed him like he didn't belong. That shows you the monster is still in there. So is it really a decline, or is it just pacing himself differently as he gets older? There is another side of this, and this is the part fans like me don't like to admit. In the smaller weight classes, 118, 122 and 126, fighters usually peak younger. Your reactions matter more, your explosiveness matters more, your reflexes matter more. And Inoue is now 32 years old. That's not old in heavyweight years, but in the lighter divisions, that's the beginning of the downslope. For a fighter as special as Inoue, this is not a big downslope, just the first signs of natural aging. And maybe that's all this is, not a collapse, not a downfall, just a tiny, subtle slowing of hand speed, footwork rhythm, reflex counters and overall sharpness. He's still better than everyone, he's still elite, but the monster moments are becoming slightly less frequent. That's why this December 27th fight against David Picasso is interesting. And from the footage I've seen, he looks like a good puncher. Being tall for the weight like Picasso is, those skinny frames generate more leverage on the shots. Trust me, first hand experience. The hardest I've ever been hit in sparring was against a 6'4", 160 pounds boxer. The leverage they can generate is like a whip. But I still think Inoue has enough in his tank to beat him. More than enough, honestly. If Inoue is even 50% of his prime, he wins comfortably. But the big question is, does he win in a spectacular manner? Because a spectacular performance tells us the monster is still here. Even if he is declining, it doesn't change anything. Inoue is already an all-time great, one of the best fighters from 108 to 122 we've ever seen. A destroyer, a 2 times undisputed champion and a generational puncher. His resume speaks for itself, and a slow, natural decline at 32 years old is not a criticism, it's normal. But when you've been that good, when you've been blowing away elite fighters like sparring partners, fans start to notice even the smallest changes. So we'll end with this. Am I speaking complete nonsense, or do I have a point? Have any of you guys noticed this decline? Or do you think it's just matchups and styles? Comment, debate, argue, I want to hear what you think. Because even if Inoue is slowing down, just a fraction, he's still one of the best fighters in the sport. And if he shows up locked in on December 27th, David Picasso might still get a reminder why Inoue is called the monster in the first place.